Walking Macau Streets. Dear Lord, show me a sign. Give me a map. Oh yeah.
So this street's called Camilo Pessanha Street, which is a poet from Portugal who had a pretty strong impact on Portuguese literary arts, and also in Macau as well as a judge. So we're gonna walk down his street and I'll show you what's on his street, including this kind of cool looking building right here. I'll explain that, and I'm just kind of go down. And what I'm gonna do for this particular one, I'll explain why these streets are empty of buses as well. And then I'm also going to set this up to some music first, and just kind of explain or do a small highlight of the street before we go down it. So that's going to be Camilo Pessanha Street. So just stay tuned. Music first, and then the walk and talk where you can hear me explain stuff like that building and different things along this street. Macau. Camilo Pessanha. This is a very well-known poet that most people who are from Portugal would be very familiar with, especially if they live in Macau. And there's a street named after him, and I'm just going to, I'll probably talk a little bit about the walk and talk about him, but I'll show you his images. So there's a few images behind me that you can see. I'll also show you where we are at on the street, and there's a lot of cool stuff on the street anyways, so I'll be probably talking about, you'll hear me talk about it. So first what I'm going to do is do a Camilo Pessanha song that I put into AI, and it kind of created something that was kind of cool. And so that would be kind of a preview of the street. And then after that, you'll hear me go through the walk and talk, where I go up and down the street and I kind of explain some of the buildings and a little bit of this famous poet as well. So anyways, you got the images, you got the maps as well, the maps behind me. And let's get right into it. Music and then the walk and talk. Macau.
In the heart of Coimbra, a poet was born, Camilo Pessanha, with a soul forlorn. He sailed to Macau, where the east meets the west, in search of solace, a place to rest. Oh Macau, with your lanterns bright, you'd capture his heart in the soft moonlight, through opium dreams and whispers of the sea. Camilo found his muse wild and free. In the alleys of Macau he wandered alone, with verses of sorrow, his heart's true tone. A teacher by day, a dreamer by night, in the city's embrace he found his light. Oh Macau, with your lanterns bright, you've captured his heart in the soft moonlight, through opium dreams and whispers of the sea. Camilo found his muse wild and free. With friends and lovers he shared his pain. In the smoky haze his legacy remains, a symbolist poet with words so deep. In Macau's arms his secrets keep. Oh Macau, with your lanterns bright, you've captured his heart in the soft moonlight, through opium dreams and whispers of the sea. Camilo found his muse wild and free. Now his spirit lingers in the streets so old, a tale of love and loss forever told. Camilo Pessanha, in Macau's gentle breeze, his poetry lives on with timeless ease. With friends and lovers, he shared his pain in the smoky haze. His legacy remains a symbolist poet with words so deep. In Macau's arms, his secrets keep. Oh, Macau's and lovers, he shared his pain in the smoky haze. His legacy remains a symbolist poet with words so deep. In Macau's arms, his secrets keep. Oh, Macau, with your lanterns bright, you've captured his heart in the soft moonlight. Through opium dreams and whispers of the sea, Camilo found his muse, wild and free. Now his spirit lingers in the streets so old, a tale of love and loss forever told. Camilo Pessanha in Macau's gentle breeze, his poetry lives on with timeless ease.
Okay, so before we get started, you can see that says pension house right there, and then that particular building has all these interesting windows, which I'm going to highlight as well. But before we even do that, we're going to just go down real quick. And this street right here goes all the way down to the, we just kind of peek out over the side a little bit. Perfect. They're all waiting for buses, but the buses don't start until 2 p.m. The reason there's no buses right now is because it's a Category 8 typhoon. But they might be opening any moment now. It's almost 2 p.m. So we had a Category 8 typhoon, so that's why the streets are so quiet like this. And right now, the only thing running, those taxis will overcharge people because it's the typhoon prices. They're not insured during a Category 8. Right now it's Category 8, so there's no buses. And then 2 p.m. it'll turn to Category 3. So that's a little bit of background of what's going on around here. So let's just kind of move around like this. And I'm gonna highlight this corner real quick. So I think, let me just go this way. So I think this is a museum now. And I'll try to explain it a little bit of what I know. It's written in Chinese, but I'm pretty sure that this particular one is a museum commemorating the pawn shop industry. Let me just kind of show this off real quick. This right here is because of the typhoon. So most of the buildings, they built these, and then this would be like for storm surge. So you can see they have it up to here, and they could build it up to there as well. So there's other ones, because it's still Category 8, there's other ones that are like that too. And we'll probably see some along the way. Okay, so nonetheless, so this was a pawn shop. So my understanding was back in more desperate times, people would pawn their prized possessions, and then this place would store it. They could sell it, and they could also get a chance to buy it back later at a different time. But because these pawn shops had so much wealth in them, sometimes they would store them in these tall buildings like this one right here, which I'm going to highlight to the left. So you can see this particular building right here has these tiny little windows with bars. So my understanding is this would be the pawn shop space. And then this separate building, you can see a gate. You can see a gate right in there as well. So that's our street all the way down. So you can see that gate right there. So there's two separate buildings, right? So this particular one right here is where they stored all the valuables, and then thieves couldn't break in and take it. So they would build these, they had this kind of style, and I'll see this in other places too. And they would store stuff in here, and it'd be like a vault. So they would have the stuff there where they would sell it, right? And then I don't know about the other two floors, but this whole space, all the valuables would be in there, and they could store it. And it'd be like, yeah, basically a big giant vault, and store all kinds of stuff in there. So that's what that's all about. This particular building, I don't know what this one's all about, but it's definitely a beautiful one. But I do know that this one, we're still on our Pessanha, Camilo Pessanha, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But this particular one is a professor, Beco do Professor. So you can see the sign right there. So I couldn't tell you what that means exactly, only that that's what it is. But I'm gonna guess it had some kind of somebody's mansion, I guess. Recovery center. Okay, so we're gonna walk down. I'll try to get into the Camilo Pessanha in a moment. But Camilo Pessanha came in the 1800s. Huh, looks like they're doing something with that space. So Camilo Pessanha came in the 1800s as a poet. I don't know if he originally came as a poet, but he came to see his possibilities in Macau as a Portuguese person in a Portuguese governed city. And then he became involved with the legal system, and he was some kind of I don't know the exact role, but it was involved with law. So he would had a very prominent position and a very scandalous life. These are these little alleys that goes all the way down. Grand Lisboa Casino's way in the distance. These little alleys go all the way to Senato Square. So Camilo Pessanha, he was a judge here. That goes down to the pont. So there's the ocean would be down that direction. And one of the things that was very scandalous about him was he was a very prominent, high-ranking person in the Portuguese community. But he was also a, let me just kind of explain this part a little bit. This is a museum. Luban. I have came in here in other videos, so I'm just going to just show that it's here, and I'll continue with my story. Checking out the architecture while we're with the camera. Okay, so one of the scandalous things about him was he would go down to the prostitution area, which is called Rua de Invernarios. Sorry, Rua de Felicidade. The pawn shop. And street of Rua de Felicidade means like street of happiness. Kind of cool. And that street of happiness is right over on the other side of the street. If you go down a little bit and go up a little bit, that would be historical prostitution area, which had sing-song girls and such like that. So Camilo Pessanha, the Portuguese poet in the 1800s, would frequently visit that area, and he was always he fell in love with a with one of those one of the girls. And he meet Macau. Let's keep on going down here. That's kind of cool. I'm going to capture the camera angles of this. It's amazing. It's a really nice building. Okay, so he fell in love with this with one of the girls there, and I'll give you a context of what the girls were like. But the ones that worked there were generally quite poor, but quite skilled in many ways. So the sing-song girls of that era would have been trained in the Chinese lute and in poetry and in entertainment of all sorts, including prostitution. And so a lot of like rich, well-to-do men would go there and be entertained, and then sometimes they would actually fall in love as well, which is what happened to Camilo Pessanha. And then they had a illegitimate child together, and it was very scandalous at that time because prominent Portuguese people, that wasn't something that was really allowed to be involved with such things. I've never been in this shop. I'm gonna have to check that out in a bit. I'll do that in a separate video. So he became quite involved with her, and that became quite well known. So all the history books about Camilo Pessanha they'll talk about that. But he's also mostly well known as one of the most famous poets out of Portugal, and also his deep connections with Macau. So the combination of both kind of means his name floats around here quite a bit in literary circles and in Macau expat communities and Macau history. It's another beautiful street. So I believe this is the antique shop, which is closed at the moment. But you can see that's some pretty cool stuff. Okay, so that's basically Camilo Pessanha Street. Just to give you some context to where we are. Sao Paulo Ruins is over that way, St. Dominic's, and then Hong Kong Temple, which has a Saturday and Sunday night market. And then what we're not going to do in this video is we're not going to go down these little alleys. But if we did, and I'll do that in a separate video probably, is there's a lot of kind of cool stuff everywhere in here, including this new restaurant right there, which I've been really interested to try. Okay, so that was a little bit about Camilo Pessanha, and that was the street that was named after him. And as soon as these cars go by, I'm going to go back down again. And we'll end the video. So Camilo Pessanha.
Walking Macau streets, walking Macau streets.